they show if they had attention, because even in his absence 20-something years later, he's still the most loved of our generation. Even the ones that hate him love him. So he was our voice in the music industry to cover the field of arts and entertainment in the tribal communicational network. You have to go back to a couple years ago when all of the West Coast rappers honored him in the public domain. They given him the power to speak on their behalf for the culture. Now, after that, the next thing he did was he called together a bunch of OGs from all up and down the coast of California into Arizona and asked them to help him stop us from killing us so we can break free from the tyranny. Now, a lot of this stuff going on in the background, and you can only know by the result of when he come out to tell the story. Right? So Drake playing the character of the dragon that gets slain at the feet of the great mother when she's giving birth to the child in Revelations. He had to be publicly slain, but he have to be caught between two pillars, which means Gemini. The first Gemini in this story is Tupac. The second Gemini in this story is Kendrick. Right? So he caught between, in the culture, he's caught between Tupac and Kendrick, which triangulates on the dragon, the Dracos. As above, so below, they following a star map. Now, the other Gemini, I think Kanye, I think he's a Gemini. Okay. So now he's caught between three Geminis. They playing out stellar events in arts and entertainment using tribal lingo to talk to the other tribes across the land to draw us together in unity to overthrow the invaders. The political other side of that is Trump. Okay. Remember, DC is directly across the land from Hollywood. So to mirror everything Kendrick doing in arts and entertainment, Donald J. Trump is doing it in political satire. Right? So it's one make a move, another make a move. That tell me what move the people need me to make, so that's the move I make next. Right? And the New York culture is the influence that Trump is reading when he's seeing the LA message back to the east from the west. And as the sun shines from the east, even unto the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Right? But the Son of Man is not the Son of Man. That's the derogatory term, because he's really the son of the great mother coming to get his mama shit back. Excuse my language. You're forgetting the more Dr. G show.
It's okay. It's okay.
Right. So then you got, it's all ties back to the Hopi prophecy where he said the man in the red hat will be the leader of the corporation. And while he's doing the tearing down of it in the open from the political standpoint, one of the chiefs, a shaman is what they call him, is going to be in the background following the tribal ways in order to restore everything back to balance. So the play out in the Super Bowl is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
Excuse me. Somebody said, I don't mean to interrupt you, but somebody said in the chat that Trump is a Gemini also.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what they said. So I don't know.
Yeah. You know, he was picked by Panthers.
Panthers?
You know, did you know when he was in college, he was a prime financier of the Black Panther Party?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah. He was called to a community leaders meeting about slumlords because his daddy had all of those slumlord properties that he inherited.
Oh, okay.
Right? But if you pay attention to what he did next, he stopped dealing in slumlord properties and went straight down into Manhattan and started building and buying.
Okay.
Right? So if you bump straight, we can use you. If you don't bump straight, we can't use you. We don't care about your personal quirks. Like everybody think you're racist.
Right.
But in the early 80s, late 70s, he was on the disco scene. Every one of the artists of the day was all hanging out with Trump. But he wasn't just hanging out with artists. He was also hanging out with activists. He was being seasoned in the hood, by the hood, so he can be our buck dancing cracker. So now he buck dancing. But every step he take, he making sure he hit a landmine. This is where they hiding it at. This is how they stole it.
Right.
This is how they swindling you. But don't worry about it, because every executive order to reverse a swindle, it go back to you. He don't want the money. He got his. He ain't in it for the money. Most politicians is in politics for the money.
Right. You're right about that.
Yep. You ain't officially in the billionaire club until you own a politician. Now you a power wielder. But you ain't a true politician until you got your first billionaire. Because you can only go so far without him. Because he's going to bring you something called the lobby. What do? Where they come from? They are the owners of major corporations around the world, international bankers, and warlords. And it's how you can watch the different people that's in the office at the time. You will know if they got a warlord financier, a banker financier, or if they have a corporate financier.
How do you tell? How are you able to differentiate?
A good example is Bill Clinton. When Bill Clinton came out, billionaire ran against him. First time it was Forbes. That's who he was trying to get past. And then on the second one, it was Ross Perot. Now, Ross Perot was getting so much traction that his life and his family life was threatened. It made him drop out the race until he fall behind in the poll. Right? So then when he re-entered the race, he's guaranteed to lose because the people looking at him we can't have no president with no backbone. Trump came out gangster. They shot him in the ear. He ain't stopped campaigning. Just like 50 Cent got shot 9 times. Tupac got shot 5 times. Right? So we seeing these different things play out in the public. When they do false flags events, that don't mean nobody get hurt.
Oh, I know that. What they call collateral damage.
Yeah. They don't mean that they didn't send a Manchurian candidate in there to do destruction so that they can say, look at this psycho, and make him off as a lone actor when the government was behind it the whole time. Right? The government has never been here for the people. That old we the people is stolen from the tribes of the land. But the whole concept behind it is they gonna scream our motto, land of the free, home of the brave. They gonna scream all our mottos and do exactly the opposite. They do everything to undermine the liberty and freedom of the people, but they screaming, people fight for your liberty and your freedom. But as soon as you fight for real freedom, they murder you like they did Martin. They shoot you down in your driveway like they did Medgar Evers. They catch you doing a speech at the Audubon Ballroom, and the real players got to come out now because you can't use your puppy pale face. Right? When you tell them to stop selling dope in your neighborhood, like Father God Allah Puddin', they want to come put a ridiculous amount of holes in you. And they look just like him. Because they couldn't have slid in and out of that particular neighborhood if they don't look like the people in the neighborhood.
Wow.
If you an artist with a big mouth, they gonna send these dudes at you in the camouflage while the police to look out on the outside and say that somebody was trying to rob you and hope that you don't see who it was. Because then you can blame people that's closest to you, because normally if you schooled in the art of war, they normally use the closest to you to reach out and touch you. All this tied back in to the political satire in DC, in the arts and entertainment of Hollywood, as Hollywood is burning, but the land is freezing. Southwest Detroit right now underwater. They say a water main break. I don't believe it.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. I don't
believe that. I'm a bit more believe that's a water main break, as I believe that fire just started spontaneously in California. That's too much water. That had to be a big pipeline open.
That's that really.
We didn't have water main breaks. I didn't see them my whole life. I've never seen one flood a neighborhood that fast. Normally, by the time it flood the street where it's broke at is where you saw the grounds crew from the water company digging. They come out immediately. They don't lag. The Detroit water, they ain't the best. They ain't the worst either. They'll get out there in a reasonable time to patch a water main break. That's not no water main break. Somebody opened up something that puts water on the land like that. I ain't falling for it. I don't believe it. But it's also coded in the 313. Southwest.
Okay.
Right? When you look at the Southwest, now you're looking at the Texas, Arizona, Florida area. Where was the Super Bowl?
Where did they have it? Where I was looking at.
Was it in Louisiana?
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is where they had a big flood.
In Louisiana, New Orleans is exactly southwest of Detroit. All that stuff ain't none of that stuff coincidence. There's too many of them to be a coincidence, because a coincidence is only two. Now we tying together 25 and 30 different things that's all connected.
Planes falling out the sky, planes landing and flipping on the runway, crashing, going up 1 minute and exploding and going down the next minute. It's a lot of crazy stuff.
And helicopters smashing into airplanes randomly.
Maybe a helicopter. Or maybe it was being remotely driven. Who knows what was.
It don't matter. It's still a helicopter if it was a drone helicopter.
Right.
Right. And then the president of one of them African banks that was over here, he died in a plane crash over here, or a helicopter crash over here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm wondering if he ain't the one that was on the helicopter that was the remote control, was took over from in a remote location to fly it into the plane, and they just separated the reports so they don't seem similar.
Wow.
Because they say it was supposed to have been somebody important on the helicopter. Military dudes is putting that on TikTok.
Really?
They said that they give you the classification of the flight. They mean that it was somebody on there important. It was him and his son came up dead. I was in Nigeria. I don't think it's Nigeria, but it's an African country. And he was over here to tie in to America returning to the gold standard. And to do business with the new corporation that's on the rise, the new people, the return of the tribes. And that's why he was summarily dismissed from his duties. They don't never want us to make connections in a multicultural linking to overthrow the colonizers on all lands at the same time. But if we don't overthrow the colonizer on all lands at the same time, he's just going to regroup on somebody else's land and attack us again. We all have to be in on getting rid of the colonizers. Every tribe all over the planet. So you see him making moves in Samoa. The sister did the hecker thing at the women's soccer tournament, the big women's soccer tournament. Came out there, led that hecker, had the whole country. Then another one turn around and do the hecker in the Senate building, and she's an elected official, really letting them know we taking this back. They use those things to talk to the other tribes so we can all sync our moves. Right? Everybody do their part. We get rid of these SOBs. And the first thing we got to do is stop down talking people when you don't know what you're talking about.
Right, right.
Right? And people that have been telling y'all for 50, 60, 75 years like Taj, y'all don't want to listen because he wouldn't have had to tell y'all that many years for you to know how to organize. But he got to repeat it like a broken record. Not just him. C. Freeman Hill. Right? We had all of the other leaders that tried different stuff like Yahweh Ben Yahweh. We let the government tell us what to think about the leadership that's naturally rising up so they can insert the leaders they want us to have. We not buying it no more. And that's why I give this information that I have attained over the years away for free. Because once the babies get a hold of it and they see the vein of information starts to reveal itself when you start digging past the lies, it's over. And that's where we at now. The babies got it. The music is changing in the culture. Kendrick Lamar is a representation of that. They not like us. They look like us, but they ain't us.
That's right.
And they passed off all these people as scapegoats. So you can turn on each other. Now we want to attack the Mongolians they brought over as slaves to try to replace us with. Some of them didn't want to help us. They took sides with them. You know them because they don't look like no regular Mongolian. They look more pale face. And they own casinos. Not all casino owning tribes are in on it, but all of the ones in on it own casinos. All of the broke tribes, look at their socioeconomic condition. If it's the same as the south side of Chicago, is it the same as Jamaica, Queens? Is it the same as Brooklyn? Is it the same as Philly? The socioeconomics tell you who they're stealing the money from. Because the ones who ain't getting the money access is the ones that's targeted to steal the money from. The tribes ain't never been broke over here. That's all they was trying to do was live off our wealth as long as they could until one of the chiefs say, hey, this is what they doing. They're using this artificial corporation masquerading as a proper jurisdictional authority on the land. Don't none of them people in them courts belong here. Don't nobody call the police belong here. The only law enforcement that we ever had was the one appointed by the local people in the area. You cannot bring outsiders in to police my community because that's warfare. That's occupation of foreign territory. If you don't know what an occupied territory is, you need to investigate it. Then you'll understand why the police look like they soldiers, because they is. They work for the crown. They don't work for us. That's why their job is to serve, protect, and break a brother's neck. That's why they were shooting us in the back in California that made the largest two clans on the West Coast wake up at the same time. The only problem is that they didn't know that they ain't the enemy to each other. They the enemy to the one they was brought here to destroy, to get off the land. Now they get it.
Oh, wow.
Now they get it. The OGs out there is reorganizing. What we gonna do, OG? We need to get some bread. Hit them people in the pockets like they did us. Make them shut down Nordstrom's. Make them pack their gold stores up. Because when you send in 1,000 or more, they can't do nothing. All they got to, police can't even arrest nobody. It's in the law because of the 92 Rodney King situation. Yeah, when during the Rodney King situation, they told you about all of the burnings and stuff that the so-called people was doing, but they didn't tell you about the dirt the police was doing. The police was using the cover of the riot to execute key people in the community that they thought had control and influence and label them as dead drug dealers and label it as a drug-related crime. And Iran-Contra proved that the government was the ones bringing in the dope. They was flooding it into our communities. And now you starving because we didn't cut off your socioeconomics. You're not allowed to get a skilled trades position because you don't look the part. Right? So when they systematically shut us out of finance, what we supposed to do? The tribal way is to get it off the land. Get it off the land. If you can't get it from the dirt, you ain't from over here. And in this case, get it from the dirt, landed them into a whole bag of snow, the snowman effect. Bill Clinton, CIA code named the snowman. Brought more dope into Arkansas than you could possibly imagine. He brought more dope into Arkansas than Big Meech ever seen. And used the police to transport it. And everybody in Arkansas know. All the tribes watching, they just ain't saying nothing. But you got leadership down in Arkansas waiting to tell the story about how the snowman snowed them in. And all that stuff is related. The ice is on the land. That means ice is on the land. I mean, Big Mama home. And when we about to have a heat up, that's called the King's Son effect. It's a heat up. It's another song in the culture that's telling you what to look for. You looking for the heat up after the freeze, because the queen of the north is coming to restore the queen of the south. The ice princess has become the ice queen. She's the dame of the north. And it's just so ironic, Notre Dame is where they hatched that slave plot. That's why the cathedral looked like